But it's the best way. I think we'll start with making a Codepen. So Google Codepen, start coding. It's a good thing to have your own account too, so you can save your work and share with the class. In the headline and the HTML part here on the left, put the headline. Then I'll try to grab some text, and I don't see any website with lots of text, so I just go to a German news site. You can see, obviously, German. Just so I can copy and paste a little bit of text. Could be a little longer than that, but I guess that's fine. So underneath the headline, I just copy pasted that text in. Now I enclose the headline with the h1 tags, closing tag here, and this is the first paragraph, so wrap that with paragraph tags. I should have put a / in that last P there. So now I'm heading over to Google Fonts. Just I think it's fonts.google.com, but I just went through Googling it, no problem. So here you have a couple options. You can choose different categories of serifs and sans serifs or display. I don't need any of this. I just want to have a serif for the headline. I do like Laura, have used that on a couple of websites before. So I select a style that's sort of a medium weight. So I have that inside my list of fonts that I'd like to import. But now for the text, I think it would be good to have sans serif. So I'm heading over there, and in the categories, look for the sans serif instead. Open Sans is okay with me for now, for this demo. And I chose the light, just a 300 weight. Usually weights are from 200 to 900 is the boldest, or 700 usually. So now I have these two codes on the Google site, and I put this top one in the head section, like we talked about before, that the head is where you link to different files, like your style sheets or the links to fonts, Google search optimization stuff, meta stuff. So I copy pasted that top thing here into the head of the HTML, and the other parts are for the CSS. So my classes are the h1 and the paragraph. No, it should be curly brackets here, right? And then copy pasted that font family Laura, which is that serif typeface for the headline. But it's not showing up because the second line here is still, it's reading it afterwards. So now it shows up. I can do the same with the paragraph then. And then the paragraph should change to, what do we use? Open Sans. And by default, that's the 16 pixel size. Let's play around a little bit to show you something about sizes of pixels versus EMs and REMs. So the font size 16, now make it bigger, 20 would be nicer. And I think, yeah, I wanted to do the width of the paragraph, which is the measure of the paragraph. It's very wide, so 200 would be super narrow. I can tell you that right now. That's too small. I think I'm trying 400. Yeah, say 600 or 800 is probably more comfortable to read. Now, I know that 16 pixels is the default of one EM. EM is the base unit of the browser, so nothing changes there. 16 pixels, 1 EM, and the width, let's say, is 20 or 40 EMs there. yeah, let's say 40. So that comes back to what it was before, sort of, by math. Now, one thing is, if I change that EM of the font size to, let's say, 1.6 or 5, then the width changes because they're connected. That is a little bit confusing. At first, it totally threw me off because sort of the width depends on the font size because its EM is sort of related to each other. What you could do instead is do the REM, the relative EM, which goes back to the EM of the entire body being just 1 EM instead of 1.6 EM. And you see how it like sort of related when I made it 1 EM, then the 40 stayed the same. But if I made it 1.4 EM on the width on the EM would have changed relative to the font size. But if I make it REM, which is relative to the root of the website, then that width would be fixed because it only goes to being 1 EM as the root. I mean, I could make the root also bigger, but that would be confusing myself, I guess. So there's a difference between EM and REM, and in the beginning I often got confused how everything changed when I changed one font size. All of a sudden, the things that are sort of related to that font size would go bigger or smaller. So, and yeah, just quick. You can try out loading a Google font yourself in a Codepen. A good thing is with the Google font, with Google Fonts, they are hosted on Google, so you don't need any links to any server. So if you had a server, you could also put your font files on that server and link to it in the head just as well. Okay, thank you. How do I stop this recording?